These are my picks for the best metalcore albums of 2022 so far. First up, we have Underoath with Voyeurist. Now, as a huge fan of the Glory Days era of Underoath, I was pretty disappointed with their 2018 comeback Erase Me. Thankfully, Voyeurist has renewed my faith in their ability to craft songs that are equal parts hard-hitting and incredibly catchy. Tracks like Damn Excuses and We're All Gonna Die get me banging my head and screaming along just like in the old days, while others like Numb also bring back their penchant for infusing electronic elements and melancholic drifting interludes. And all of it culminating in the 7+ minute conclusion Pneumonia, which is a highly stirring and ambitious composition navigating some of their softest and heaviest moments to date. It's not perfect, and it still can't hold a candle to classics like They're Only Chasing Safety and Defying the Great Line, but it still makes my inner 16-year-old metalcore fanboy very happy. Next is the Dali Thundering Concept with Almighty Men. Now, I was already very impressed with their awesome fusion of bands like After the Burial and Sixth on 2018's Savages, but this album takes their progressive influences to an entirely different level. A point already made very clear as the opening synths build into the rebellious shouted chanting of opening track God Is Dead. So many great moments on what basically amounts to a gent-driven sci-fi dystopian musical, but I'm particularly fond of the ferocious screamed mantra of Long Live Man. God damn, is that gonna get the crowd fired up live? Like, who needs steroids when you've got tracks like this?
Holy shit, I'm gonna come.
And not content to run on rage alone, the Dali Thundering Concept also flexed their technical mastery on more melodic fare like the string-infused and very Animals as Leaders-esque Lost in Translation or full-on classical piece Styx, not to mention a few surprisingly tasteful detours into trap metal. Periphery better watch their backs because these guys are definitely looking to steal their lunch. Then we have Helpless with Caged in Gold. So we've got some really great albums on this list, but I think the award for loudest and noisiest easily goes to this UK trio. I got into these guys with Debt in 2017, and this album continues with the same promise of chaotic, mathcore-infused dissonance like the bastard child of the Dillinger Escape Plan and Converge.
Just hook it to my veins!
And maybe even with a few riffs that recall the spiraling darkness of Deathspell Omega on tracks like Focus Group Extraction. I listen to this band and I picture the audience chewing glass and spitting blood in each other's faces in the pit. And whether they're raging to the latest D-beat or slowing things down for one of the sludgier bass-driven moments, it will fuck you up. Be sure to share this one around too because they are severely underrated. Then we have Rolo Tomassi with Where Myth Becomes Memory. Rolo Tomassi are an English band started in the mid-2000s and recommended for fans of Spiritbox. Right from the start, I fell in love with the stunning opening track between the swelling guitars, twinkling piano, and always angelic vocals of Eva Spence. It puts me on the verge of tears. But this is just the first of many moments to leave you adrift in a dreamscape, always perfectly counterbalanced by explosive eruptions of equally palpable aggression. And while most bands with this mix tend to keep things a good 3-to-1 ratio between harsh and clean moments, I'd say Rolo Tomassi go for more of an even 50-50 split with a perfect yin and yang to complement one another. I'd even venture to say that in this case, the melodic parts are frequently among my favorites. Then we have Vayne FM with This World Is Going to Ruin You. This band's fusion of noisy, knocked-loose fury with pummeling new metal grooves hits harder than ever and makes for a solid follow-up to 2018's Arizona. There are plenty of punishers, but much like the Dillinger Escape Plan, they also refuse to stay in one place with tracks like the moody, piano-driven Wherever You Are and Funeral Sound, the early 2000s MySpace core vibes of Magazine Beach, and the crushing doom and gloom of Wavery. Definitely cool to hear them also evolve on their already diverse and chaotic vocal performances as well. It brought back everything I loved about the debut while also expanding just enough to keep me interested for what comes next. I'd say alongside the likes of Code Orange and Loathe, Vayne are ready to inspire the next generation of young and hungry fans out there, just like Slipknot and Deftones did for me so many years ago. Next is Anna Sage with Anna Sage. Now, I've been waiting this year for a truly great album with that botch and converge energy, and this one absolutely nails that. Anna Sage is a fiery mix of the best elements of late 90s metallic hardcore and mathcore in a modern package, ferocious, unfiltered snarls, dissonant, angular riffing, and absolutely catastrophic work on the drum kit. Every single track is a total banger and worthy of being heralded as among the best in the genre this year. So many great moments, honestly too many to highlight here, but the ending of final track The Serpents, where the recording gets more and more blown out, is a seriously satisfying conclusion to an already apocalyptic sounding record. Next is Grayscale Season with Do You Like Violence? This is a Swedish metalcore band that I happened across with 2019's Everything Hurts, and it quickly became one of my favorite albums in the genre of the last few years. Much like I said about Rolo Tomassi, or Loathe for that matter, these guys mix it up with both the typical gent tropes of their peers alongside a bit of shoegaze and even dream pop elements on tracks like Volatile, Summer, and Side Effects, which also features Cal Thorner of Viljarta. And then you've got others like Violence, which despite the ominous title is mostly just a pure piano ballad I'd compare to something like Keen or Death Cab for Cutie. Regardless, if you want some metalcore that doesn't just sound like everything else and take some actual risks, you should definitely give it a listen, equal parts battering and ethereal. Next up is Godmother with Obeveklig. There's a reason why the Dillinger Escape Plan's Ben Weinman put out this band's sophomore album on his Party Smasher label after hearing them play at their farewell shows. Another band bringing their own carnal, dissonant take on the Converge formula. When that rumbling, distorted bass kicks off Host Body, resist the urge to hide. Likewise, the disorienting mathcore guitars and psychedelic nightmare-fueled music video of Teething are going to seriously fuck you up. It may only be an EP, but Godmother are not interested in wasting your time. They squeeze every last drop out of these 10 minutes, leaving you battered, bruised, and ready to just spin it all over again.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Then there's Without Waves with Comedian. This Chicago band defies concise labeling, traversing a wide variety of influences including the Dillinger Escape Plan, Gojira, Devin Townsend, and Porcupine Tree. We're talking Mike Patton vocals on the intro, chaotic fusions of prog and mathcore influenced riffs and drumming, blackened tremolos against pop influenced singing, electronic effects, and a big chunky outro. But each track has its own distinctive personality, from ragers like Algorithm to more progressive, expansive content like Set and Setting, or the vaguely Opethy Do What Scares You and Slight in Shadows. Sleep Deep even sounds like a weird cross between Deftones and Tears for Fears. Not only one of my favorite metalcore albums this year, but just an interesting and engaging album overall in the entire musical landscape. And same goes for Greyhaven with This Bright and Beautiful World. This is a very special entry into Greyhaven's discography, perfectly folding new influences into their heavy roots for a record that feels entirely fresh and unique. There's total rippers like Foreign Anchor, softer rock moments like Candy, and then seriously catchy stuff somewhere in between like A Painful and Necessary Action, which for the life of me, with that chorus, I just can't understand who decided to not make this a single. The songwriting had me thinking once again about Every Time I Die, but also everything from These Arms Are Snakes and later Poison the Well to the Dillinger Escape Plan again and Greg Puciato's solo work. And all of these emotions and stylistic ups and downs covered in a lean 34-minute runtime. Definitely a must-listen album in 2022. Y'all check out this playlist for more of my favorite metal albums in all subgenres, and let me know down in the comments what is your favorite metalcore album of 2022 so far. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.